When my wife left me for a yoga instructor, I lost my house, my savings, and my dignity. But there was one thing she couldn't take from me, and that became my $1,000,000 advantage. The fluorescent lights of Tech World Electronics hummed their usual monotonous tune as Robert Harrison straightened another display of laptop cases for the third time that morning. At 44, he had perfected the art of looking busy during slow hours, a skill that kept district managers off his back and gave him time to think about the parent-teacher conference scheduled for 6 o'clock. Emma had been struggling with math lately, and Rob knew exactly why. The arguments at home had gotten louder, the silences longer. 9-year-olds noticed everything, even when you thought they were lost in their iPad games. The store sat on North Michigan Avenue, what locals called the Magnificent Mile. Though there was nothing magnificent about hawking extended warranties to tourists who just wanted their vacation photos backed up. Through the window, Rob watched business people rush past, their lives apparently moving forward, while his felt stuck in an endless loop of inventory counts and customer complaints. His phone buzzed. Karen. Again. "We need to talk. Tonight. After Emma's asleep." Rob's stomach tightened. Those 6 words had never preceded good news in 18 years of marriage. He pocketed the phone and returned to rearranging items that did not need rearranging, trying to ignore the cold dread spreading through his chest, like winter fog rolling off Lake Michigan. The conference went better than expected. Miss Rodriguez, Emma's teacher at Lincoln Elementary, had kind eyes and spoke with the patience of someone who genuinely cared. She sat across from Rob in a tiny plastic chair designed for 3rd graders, her knees nearly touching her chin. "Emma is bright, Mr. Harrison. Very bright," Miss Rodriguez said, tapping her pen against a folder of Emma's work. "But lately she seems distracted, withdrawn. Is everything okay at home?" Rob forced his best customer service smile, the one he used when someone demanded to return a laptop they had clearly dropped. "We're working through some things. You know how it is." Miss Rodriguez's expression said she knew exactly how it was, and it made Rob want to sink through the floor. By the time he picked up Emma from after-school care and navigated the evening traffic back to their brownstone in Lincoln Park, the October sun had already set. Emma chattered about a science project involving volcanoes, her backpack bouncing as she skipped up the front steps. The house had cost them everything they had saved for 15 years, but Karen had insisted. "Lincoln Park schools are the best," she had said. "Emma deserves the best." Now, watching his daughter fumble with her key, Rob wondered what she deserved most. The best schools or parents who did not make her sit through muffled arguments about credit card statements and whose turn it was to give up their dreams. Karen was waiting in the kitchen, her yoga mat still rolled up by the door. She had been attending classes religiously for the past 6 months, leaving earlier and coming home later. Rob had convinced himself it was healthy, that she needed her own interests. He was an expert at convincing himself of comfortable lies. "Emma, sweetie, go start your homework," Karen said, her voice carrying that artificial cheerfulness that made Rob's skin crawl. "Daddy and I need to have a grown-up conversation." Emma's eyes darted between them, too knowing for 9 years old. She grabbed her backpack and trudged upstairs, each step on the hardwood a little slower than the last. Karen waited until Emma's bedroom door clicked shut. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out a manila envelope, setting it on the granite countertop they had installed just last year. The payment was still sitting on their maxed-out credit card. "I'm leaving, Rob." 4 syllables, 14 letters, one sentence that detonated his entire existence. Rob stared at the envelope, his brain struggling to process the words. "What do you mean leaving? Like for a trip, your sister in—" "I'm leaving you. I filed for divorce." Her voice was flat, rehearsed. She had practiced this. "My lawyer says you'll get the papers next week." The kitchen suddenly felt too small, the air too thick. Rob gripped the counter's edge, his knuckles whitening. "Your lawyer? When did you get a lawyer? Karen, what—" "His name is Travis." She said it simply, matter-of-factly, as if announcing she had switched hairdressers. "We met at yoga. He's a musician. We're moving to Nashville. He has connections there, opportunities." Rob's laugh came out strangled, almost hysterical. "Travis the musician? You're leaving me for a guy named Travis who does yoga? Don't mock him." For the first time, emotion cracked through her rehearsed composure. "He listens to me, Rob. He sees me. When's the last time you actually looked at me?" The question hung between them like smoke. Rob wanted to argue, to list all the times he had looked at her, really looked, but the words died in his throat because he could not remember. When had they stopped seeing each other? "What about Emma?" His voice came out barely above a whisper. "You can have primary custody." Karen said it too quickly, as if she had been waiting for permission to unburden herself of that particular responsibility. "I'll take her summers and holidays. Nashville's only a few hours away. She'll love visiting. Travis has this great loft in East Nashville with exposed brick." Rob's world tilted. "You're leaving your daughter for exposed brick?" "I'm not leaving her. I'm leaving this." She gestured around the kitchen, at the expensive appliances they had fought about buying, at the life they had built through compromise and sacrifice and slowly dying dreams. "I'm 41 years old, and I feel ancient. Travis makes me feel alive again." "I made you feel alive once." "Yeah." Karen's eyes softened for just a moment. "You did, a long time ago." She left that night, packed 2 suitcases while Rob sat at the kitchen table, staring at the envelope he could not bring himself to open. Emma watched from the top of the stairs, her small hands gripping the banister so hard her knuckles matched her father's. Karen kissed Emma's forehead, promised to call tomorrow, and walked out the front door with a suitcase in each hand and no backward glance. A silver Honda Accord idled at the curb. Rob caught a glimpse of a man with a man bun behind the wheel before the car pulled away, its taillights disappearing down the tree-lined street. Emma came down the stairs slowly, her feet barely making a sound. She stood in front of her father, her brown eyes too old and too understanding. "Is Mummy coming back?" Rob pulled his daughter into his lap, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo, feeling her small body tremble against his chest. He should lie. He should tell her everything would be okay, that Mommy just needed a little break, that families did not really break apart over yoga instructors with man buns. But Emma deserved better than comfortable lies. "I don't know, baby," he whispered into her hair. "I honestly don't know." They sat like that for a long time, father and daughter, holding on to each other in a kitchen that cost too much, in a house that would soon belong to someone else, in a life that had just shattered into 1,000 pieces. Outside, October wind rattled the windows, carrying the first promise of the brutal Chicago winter ahead. Rob Harrison had no idea how brutal it would truly be. 3 weeks after Karen left, the bills arrived like vultures circling carrion. Rob sat at the kitchen table at 2 in the morning, surrounded by envelopes he had been too afraid to open. The house was silent, except for the ancient radiator's hiss and the occasional rumble of the Brown Line elevated train a few blocks away. Chicago never truly slept, and lately neither did Rob Harrison. He had finally opened Karen's manila envelope. The divorce papers were thorough. He would give her lawyer that much. What they revealed made his blood run cold. Karen had withdrawn half their savings, her legal right, apparently, leaving him with $3,847 to his name. She had also racked up $34,000 in credit card debt over the past 8 months. Yoga retreats in Sedona, sound healing workshops in Colorado, couples therapy with Travis that hilariously their joint account had paid for. The mortgage was 3 months behind. Karen had been handling the finances, which apparently meant ignoring them while she found herself in downward-facing dog position. Emma padded into the kitchen in her fuzzy penguin pajamas, clutching her stuffed elephant, Mr. Trunk, against her chest. "Daddy, why are you awake?" Rob quickly shuffled the papers into a pile, forcing a smile. "Just doing some paperwork, sweetheart. Why are you up?" "Bad dream." She climbed into his lap without waiting for an invitation. "I dreamed Mommy came back, but she didn't remember who I was." Rob's heart cracked a little more. "Mommy remembers you, Em. She calls, doesn't she? Twice, in 3 weeks." Emma held up 2 fingers. "She always sounds busy." "How about we make pancakes?" Rob said, desperate to change the subject. "I know it's a school night, but sometimes you need pancakes at 2 in the morning." Emma's face lit up. "With chocolate chips? Is there any other kind?" They made a mess of the kitchen, flour dusting every surface. Emma flipped one pancake directly onto the floor and they both stared at it for a moment before dissolving into genuine laughter. 5-second rule? Emma suggested hopefully. Not even the 2-second rule saves that one, kiddo. The foreclosure notice came on a Tuesday, taped to the front door like a scarlet letter. Rob tore it down before Emma got home from school, his hands shaking. 60 days. They had 60 days to vacate. That same week, his manager at TechWorld pulled him aside. "Harrison, we need to talk. Corporate's doing restructuring. They're eliminating the manager position at this location." Rob felt nothing. He had apparently reached his capacity for catastrophe. "When?" "End of the month. They're offering you a sales associate position. Same hours, but it's a pay cut. About 15,000 less annually." Rob did the math in his head. With that salary, he could not afford a cardboard box under the Kennedy Expressway, let alone an apartment for him and Emma. That night, after Emma went to bed, Rob did something he had not done since his father's funeral. He cried. Not quiet, dignified tears, but ugly, shoulder-shaking sobs of someone who had finally hit bottom. He cried in the bathroom with the shower running so Emma would not hear. He cried for his failed marriage, his dying career, his daughter who deserved so much better. He cried until he had no tears left, until he was just a 44-year-old man sitting on a bathroom floor, wondering how his life had become a country song without the truck or the redemption arc. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Marcus Johnson. We met at the Michigan Avenue store last week. Still interested in selling those vintage receivers? I know some collectors." Rob vaguely remembered an older black man with salt and pepper dreadlocks who had spent an hour examining their vintage audio section. He had given Rob his card, said something about seeing potential. Rob stared at the text. He owned 3 vintage receivers, relics from his college days when he thought he might open an audio repair shop. "How much are we talking?" he typed back. "Come by tomorrow. Let's discuss over coffee. Sip of Hope Cafe on Division Street. 2 p.m. Rob had no idea who this Marcus Johnson was or why he remembered a random store manager, but right now, he needed hope more than he needed caution. "I'll be there." The next day, Rob met Marcus at the cafe in Wicker Park. The place smelled like fresh ground coffee and optimism, 2 things in short supply in Rob's life lately. Marcus sat in the corner booth, laptop open, wearing a vintage Stevie Wonder concert tee and a smile that suggested he knew secrets about the universe. "Robert Harrison." Marcus stood, shaking his hand firmly. "Sit. I ordered you a cappuccino. Seemed like a cappuccino kind of day." Rob sat, bewildered. "How did you—" "Lucky guess. I'm good at reading people. Comes from 30 years in sales and 10 years recovering from it." Marcus took a sip of his espresso. "Let's talk about your receivers." Rob pulled out his phone, showing photos of the equipment. Marcus examined each image with the intensity of a jeweler appraising diamonds. "These are beautiful, especially the Marantz 2270. I know a collector in Gold Coast who'd pay $1,500 for it alone." Rob's heart skipped. $1,500? For one receiver? In that condition? Absolutely. The other 2, maybe another 1,000 combined. But Robert, can I call you Rob? I didn't ask you here just to buy your equipment." Marcus leaned forward, his expression shifting from friendly to serious. "I watched you that day in the store. You spent 20 minutes helping an elderly lady find the right TV, explaining every feature, making sure she understood the remote. No pressure, no upselling, just genuine care." He paused. "When was the last time you cared about your job?" The question hit like a punch. I don't know. Here's what I see. A man with knowledge, patience, integrity, wasting it in a corporate box that doesn't value any of those things." Marcus pulled out a business card. "I run a consulting business helping people monetize their skills. I teach people how to sell themselves, not just products. I can't afford a consultant. Good thing I'm not charging you." Marcus smiled. "Consider it an investment. I help you get on your feet, and when you're successful, you help the next person. That's how it works." Rob looked at the card. "Why would you help me?" "Because someone helped me once when I was living in my car in Englewood, with nothing but a briefcase and a dream." Marcus's eyes held a story Rob suspected was painful. Besides, I see something in you. Call it potential. Call it desperation. But I bet on people, Rob, and I'm betting on you. Rob thought about the foreclosure notice, about Emma, about being 44 and starting over with less than nothing. What would I have to do? Marcus's grin returned. First, sell those receivers. Take that money and invest it in yourself. Then we'll talk about what comes next. But Rob, I need to know, are you ready to stop surviving and start fighting? Rob looked out the cafe window at Division Street, at people walking past with their lives intact. He thought about Emma asking him last night if they were going to be okay, her 9-year-old eyes too worried. He had told her yes. Another comfortable lie. Maybe it was time to make that lie true. I'm ready, Rob said, surprised by the conviction in his voice. Tell me where to start. Marcus reached across the table, shaking his hand. Welcome to the rest of your life, my friend. It's going to be a wild ride. Outside, October rain began to fall on Chicago, washing away the old and making space for whatever came next. Rob Harrison walked back to Tech World with Marcus's card in his pocket and something he had not felt in weeks stirring in his chest. It felt dangerously close to hope. The apartment in Pilsen was roughly the size of Rob's former walk-in closet. 2 bedrooms, if you could call a converted storage nook a bedroom, 1 bathroom with tiles from the Reagan administration, and a kitchen where Rob could touch the refrigerator and stove simultaneously without extending his arms. The landlord, a Croatian woman named Vera, who spoke in all capital letters, stood in the doorway with her arms crossed. Rent is $8.50, first, last, security deposit. Cash or money order only. No checks, checks are lies. Rob handed over $2,550 in money orders, watching a quarter of his remaining savings evaporate. The money from selling his receivers to Marcus's collector friend had kept them afloat, but barely. Emma stood in the middle of the empty living room, her backpack on her shoulders, Mr. Trunk clutched against her chest. She had been quiet all morning, watching movers load their remaining furniture into a U-Haul. Is this our new home, Daddy? The question shattered something inside him. This was not a home, it was a place to survive. Yes, baby, he lied. What do you think? Emma walked to the window overlooking 18th Street. Salsa music filtered through from a nearby restaurant. Buses groaning down Ashland Avenue. It's different, she said carefully. 9-year-old for this is terrible. Different can be good, Rob said, joining her. See that panaderia across the street? That's a Mexican bakery. I bet they have amazing cookies. Our old playground had a bigger slide. This one has character. Emma looked up at him with those 2 wise eyes. Is character what grown-ups say when something is broken, but we have to pretend it's not? Rob laughed despite himself. Sometimes, yeah. By evening, they had created something resembling livable. Emma's room had her bed, bookshelf, and stuffed animals. Rob's room had a mattress on the floor and a dresser. The living room had the TV on a milk crate and 2 folding chairs from a yard sale. They ordered deep dish pizza from Nuevo Leon. Some traditions demanded respect even in crisis. While they waited, Rob started unpacking Emma's books. Can we take down the pictures of Mum? Emma asked suddenly. Emma? I don't want to see her every day if she doesn't want to see me. Her voice was matter-of-fact, but her eyes were bright with unshed tears. Rob sat on the floor, patting the space beside him. Emma sat leaning against his shoulder. Your mum made a mistake, a really big mistake, but that doesn't mean she doesn't love you. Do you still love her? The question Rob had been asking himself at 3 a.m. for weeks. I love who she was, he said finally. I'm angry at who she became. Both things can be true at the same time. After dinner, Rob helped Emma get ready for bed. The shower had exactly 3 settings: scolding, freezing, and surprise me. Can you stay until I fall asleep? Emma asked, climbing into bed. Of course. Rob sat on the edge of her bed. Emma curled up on her side, hugging Mr. Trunk. Daddy? Yeah, baby? Are we poor now? Rob's throat tightened. We're temporarily financially challenged. Emma smiled sleepily. That's a lot of words for yes. Okay, smart Alec. Yes, we're poor now. But we're together, and that's what matters. Rob took the demotion at Tech World, 28 hours a week at poverty wages. But nights and weekends he started his side business exactly as Marcus had outlined. He created accounts on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Nextdoor. His ad was simple: electronics repair, fair prices, iPhone screens, laptop repairs, tablet fixes, 15+ years experience, same-day service, Pilsen area, call Rob. The first call came at 11:47 p.m. from a college kid named Tyler, who had dropped his iPhone in a toilet. "Dude, I need this phone. I've got all my contacts, my photos of my dog, everything. I'll pay whatever. Bring it by tomorrow. I'll see what I can do, but no promises." Tyler showed up the next evening. Rob took apart the iPhone on his kitchen table while Tyler watched nervously, and Emma did homework in her room. The water damage was extensive. Rob worked carefully, using the tools Marcus had given him, watching YouTube tutorials when Tyler was not looking. 2 hours later, against all odds, the phone powered on. "No way!" Tyler grabbed it, scrolling through his photos. "Dude, you're a wizard. How much?" Rob had no idea what to charge. $50? Tyler handed over 3 20s. "Keep it. You earned it. Can I leave you a review?" After Tyler left, Rob stared at the $60 like it was a message from the future. He had made $60 in 2 hours, more than half a shift at Tech World. Tyler's Facebook review came minutes later. "Rob saved my life and my dog photos. Fixed my water-damaged iPhone when Apple said it was hopeless. Fair price, super nice, highly recommend." Then another call came, and another. By the end of the week, Rob had repaired 7 devices and made $380. By the end of the month, 23 devices and $1,200. He worked after Emma went to sleep, his kitchen table covered in tiny screws and circuit boards. He watched tutorials until his eyes burned. He made mistakes. One laptop he made worse before making better, but he learned. Emma started bringing him glasses of water during repair sessions, becoming his unofficial assistant. "Can I help?" she asked one night. "You want to learn?" Her eyes lit up. "Really?" Rob showed her how to sort screws, use the anti-static mat, be gentle with ribbon cables. She was careful, methodical, proud of each small task. "You're pretty good at this, Em." "I learned from the best," she said, and Rob's heart nearly exploded. Marcus checked in regularly, offering advice, bringing coffee, celebrating small victories. "Month 1, $1,200 from repairs," Rob told him. "You were right." "No, I'm a good judge of character. You're doing the work." Marcus paused. "But Rob, it gets harder before it gets easier. Stay ready." One night in December, Rob tallied his earnings. Between Tech World and repairs, he had made almost $4,000 that month. Not rich, but surviving. More than surviving. He looked around his tiny apartment, Emma's homework on the couch, his makeshift repair station on the kitchen table, tools organized in the drawer where fancy dishes used to live. It was not the life he had planned, but it was a life he was building, piece by piece, screen by screen, repair by repair. And for the first time since Karen left, Rob Harrison felt like maybe, just maybe, he could actually do this. The radiator clanged its approval. Outside, December snow fell on Pilsen, covering the streets in white, making everything look clean and new. Rob checked on Emma one more time. Sleeping peacefully, Mr. Trunk clutched to her chest and went to his own room. He lay down on his mattress on the floor and closed his eyes. Tomorrow he would wake up and keep building. Tonight he would sleep. And sleeping felt like victory enough. Rob should have known it was going too well. 4 months into his side business, he was averaging $1,500 monthly in repairs. Word had spread through Pilsen, then to Little Village, then to Bridgeport. People called him the phone doctor. Then came the laptop that changed everything. A woman named Patricia showed up at his door on a freezing February evening with a MacBook Pro that would not turn on. She was maybe 60, wearing a CTA worker's uniform and a concerned expression. "My son gave me this for Christmas," she explained. "It's got all my photos on it. 40 years of photos. My late husband, my kids growing up, everything. I haven't backed anything up." Her voice cracked. "Please tell me you can save it." Rob's stomach tightened. Data recovery was beyond his skill set. He had been honest about his limitations with every customer, but Patricia looked so desperate. "I can try," he heard himself say, "but—" "I trust you," Patricia interrupted, touching his arm. "Everyone says you're the best." She left the laptop, and Rob spent the next 3 nights trying to resurrect it. The logic board was fried, the hard drive was intact but encrypted. Every tutorial led to dead ends. On the 4th night, while attempting to bypass the encryption, Rob made a fatal error. One wrong connection, one tiny spark, and the hard drive clicked once and died permanently. All the photos gone. Rob sat at his kitchen table at 2 a.m., staring at the dead laptop, feeling like he might vomit. He had just destroyed 40 years of someone's memories because he was too proud, too desperate to admit he was in over his head. He called Marcus. "It's 2 in the morning," Marcus answered, surprisingly alert. "What's wrong?" Rob explained everything. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Okay. First, breathe. Second, you're going to call Patricia first thing tomorrow and tell her the truth. She's going to hate me. Probably. But you tell her anyway. That's integrity, Rob. You own your mistakes, especially the big ones." Patricia came to collect the laptop the next evening. Rob had rehearsed his explanation, but the words still came out wrong. "I made a mistake, a big one. I tried to recover your data, but I destroyed the hard drive. All your photos are gone. I'm so sorry." Patricia stood in his doorway, holding the dead laptop, her face unreadable. "How much do I owe you?" "Nothing. God, nothing. I'll refund your deposit. How much do I owe you for trying?" Her voice was firm. "Patricia, I destroyed your memories. You don't owe me anything." She pulled out 2 20s from her purse. "For your time and for being honest." She tucked the money into his hand. "My son keeps telling me to use the cloud. Maybe this was the universe's way of making me listen." "I'm so sorry." "I know you are." Patricia touched his arm again. "You seem like a good man trying his best. Sometimes that's not enough. But it matters that you tried." After she left, Rob closed the door and slid down to sit on the floor. Emma found him there. "Daddy? What's wrong?" He told her everything. Emma sat next to him, leaning her head on his shoulder. "You didn't mean to." "Doesn't matter. The photos are still gone. But you were honest. That counts for something." That night, Rob typed a long post on his business Facebook page. "I need to share something difficult. This week I made a serious mistake that cost a customer irreplaceable photos. I took on a job beyond my skill level because I wanted to help, and instead I caused harm. I'm sharing this because you deserve to know my limitations. I'm excellent at screen repairs and battery replacements, but data recovery and advanced diagnostics are beyond my current expertise. I will never again take on a job I'm not qualified for. I'm sorry to anyone I've let down. I'm working every day to be better." He hit post and waited for his business to collapse. Instead, something unexpected happened. The comments poured in. "Respect for owning this, Rob. Takes guts. This is why I trust you. Honesty is rare. My guy made a mistake and admitted it instead of lying. That's integrity." The phone calls did not stop. They increased. A week later, Marcus met him at a diner in Bridgeport. "Congratulations," Marcus said. "You just learned the most important business lesson." "What?" "How to destroy my reputation. How to build real trust." Marcus stole a fry from Rob's plate. "Anyone can do good work when everything goes right, but showing people who you are when things go wrong, that's when you build something real. People don't trust perfection, Rob. They trust authenticity." Expensive lesson. "The best ones always are." Marcus leaned back. "But here's the thing. You learned what you're not good at. Now you need to learn from someone who is." "I know a guy." "Of course you do." "His name is David Chen, runs a repair shop in Chinatown. Best data recovery specialist in Chicago. He owes me a favor." Marcus pulled out his phone. "I'll set up a meeting. You're going to apprentice with him 2 nights a week. I can't afford—" "Who said anything about money? You'll trade services. He needs help with basic repairs. You need advanced training. That's called barter." 2 days later, Rob found himself in a cramped shop on Wentworth Avenue, watching David Chen perform surgery on a water-damaged iPhone with neurosurgeon precision. David was maybe 50, with glasses perpetually sliding down his nose and a habit of talking to electronics like they were misbehaving children. "See here," David said, pointing with tweezers. "This is why you failed. You rushed. Water damage requires patience, like meditation but with more profanity." Rob watched, learned, took notes. David was demanding, often blunt, sometimes hilarious. "My shop, my rules," David said. "You break something, you rebuild it. You don't understand something, you ask. You think you know everything, you leave, understood?" "Understood." Emma did homework in David's back room, occasionally helping organize screws and earning tips from amused customers. "Your kid's going to be better at this than you," David observed one night. "She already is." Over the next 2 months, Rob worked at Tech World during the day, did repairs at night, and studied with David twice weekly. Emma became his assistant, learning alongside him. His skills improved dramatically. His confidence returned, tempered with appropriate humility. One evening, Patricia called. "Rob, I need my iPhone screen replaced. Are you still doing repairs?" Rob was speechless. You want me to fix your phone? Why wouldn't I? You made a mistake. You owned it. That's more than most people do." He could hear the smile in her voice. "Plus, everyone says you're even better now. So, can you fit me in?" Rob scheduled her for the next evening. Emma helped him replace the screen while Patricia watched, asking questions and laughing at their banter. "You two make a good team," Patricia said. "We do okay," Rob replied, feeling something close to pride. After she left, Rob sat with Emma on their threadbare couch. "You know what I learned?" he asked. "How to fix logic boards." "Well, yes, but also that messing up doesn't mean you're done. It just means you've got more to learn." Emma nodded. "Like how I got a C on my math test but then studied harder and got an A." "Exactly like that." Outside, February snow fell on Pilsen, covering everything in white, making it look clean and new. Rob watched through their window, Emma's head resting against his shoulder, and thought about mistakes and second chances and people like Patricia. Marcus was right. The lesson had been expensive, but it had been worth it. Spring came to Chicago with its usual drama. 3 days of warmth followed by a surprise snowstorm, followed by 70-degree sunshine that made everyone forget winter had existed. Rob's repair business had stabilized at $2,000 monthly. Combined with his Tech World income, they were surviving, even saving a little. Then Marcus called with another opportunity. "Meet me at Stan's Donuts, 9 a.m. Saturday. I've got someone I want you to meet." Marcus was already there with a woman Rob did not recognize. She was maybe mid-30s, black, with locks pulled into a professional bun and an expression that suggested she did not suffer fools. "Rob, this is Shanice Williams. She owns 3 cell phone stores in the South Loop." Shanice extended her hand, her grip firm. "Marcus says you're the guy who's been taking all my repair business." Rob's stomach dropped. "I didn't mean to..." She laughed. "Relax. I'm not here to threaten you. I'm here to hire you." "I don't understand." Marcus slid a donut toward Rob and gestured for him to sit. "Shanice runs a legitimate operation. Business license, storefront, the whole deal. But she's been losing money on repairs because her current guy is unreliable." "Unreliable is generous," Shanice added. "He shows up when he feels like it, and last month he just disappeared. Still owes me $700 in parts." "So here's the pitch." Shanice pulled out her phone, showing spreadsheets. "I need a reliable repair person, someone who can handle volume. 20 to 30 devices weekly, maybe more during holidays. You do the repairs, I provide the storefront, customers, and parts at wholesale prices. We split profits 60-40. 60 me, 40 you? Rob asked hopefully. 60 me, 40 you. Shanice's expression made clear this was non-negotiable. "I'm providing the business infrastructure, but 40% would be significantly more than what you're making now." She was right. Rob did quick math. If they did 25 repairs weekly at an average of $60 each, that was $1,500. His 40% would be $600 weekly. Over $2,000 monthly, guaranteed. "What's the catch?" "Smart man." Shanice leaned back. "The catch is reliability. I need you there every Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 6. Those are my busiest days. If you commit, you commit. No flaking. I have a daughter. Bring her. Marcus told me about Emma. I've got kids too. The store has Wi-Fi, a back room. She can do homework, help if she wants. I'll even pay her minimum wage if she's useful. Rob looked at Marcus, who was grinning. Why are you helping me? Because you're ready, Marcus said simply. 6 months ago you weren't. Now you're swimming. This is the next step. What if I fail? Shanice answered. Then we both lose money, and I find someone else. But Marcus doesn't recommend people who fail. Think about it, but don't think too long. After she left, Rob sat staring at his untouched donut. This is terrifying, he said. This is opportunity, Marcus corrected. Right now you're hustling 24/7, working tech world, doing repairs at night, barely sleeping. This gives you structure, guaranteed income, room to grow. And if tech world finds out, you quit tech world. Marcus said it casually. They're paying you poverty wages. You're worth more. Rob went home and made a list. Pros and cons, income projections, worst-case scenarios. He filled 3 pages with calculations and anxieties. Emma found him at the kitchen table, surrounded by paper. "Are you okay, Daddy?" He explained the opportunity, Shanice's offer, the possibility of quitting tech world. Emma listened carefully. "Would we have more time together?" "Yeah, I'd work weekends, but we'd have weekday evenings. I wouldn't be doing repairs at night anymore. Then you should do it." "It's not that simple." "Yes, it is." Emma climbed into his lap. "You're always tired, Daddy. You fall asleep during movies. If this makes you less tired, you should do it." Out of the mouths of 10-year-olds came devastating clarity. Rob gave his notice at Tech World. His manager took it well. "Can't say I'm shocked. You've been checked out for months. Good luck out there." The first Saturday at Shanice's store, Fresh Connect Mobile on South State Street, was chaos. A line stretched out the door. Phones with cracked screens, tablets with battery issues, laptops that would not charge. Rob set up his station in the back room, while Shanice handled the front counter with the ease of someone who had been doing this forever. Emma sat in the corner with homework, but within an hour she was helping Shanice organize parts inventory, her careful hands and methodical nature proving invaluable. "Your kid's hired," Shanice announced. "She's already better than my last assistant." By day's end, Rob had completed 18 repairs. His hands ached, his eyes burned. But when Shanice tallied the profits and handed him $432 in cash, he felt something close to joy. "Not bad for day one," Shanice said. "We'll do better once we get into rhythm." They did. Over the next month, Rob and Shanice developed a system. She handled customer intake and sales. He handled repairs. Emma became their inventory manager, tracking parts with a spreadsheet she had created herself. "She gets that from you," Shanice observed one Saturday. "Actually, I think she gets it from being raised in chaos," Rob replied. "Organization becomes survival." 8 weeks after starting, Rob quit Tech World completely. His weekends at Fresh Connect generated more income than his full-time retail job had. He still did private repairs during the week, but Marcus was right. The structure helped. One evening while closing, Shanice called Rob to the front. "Got a proposition. Business has increased 30% since you started. Customers like you. They trust you. I want to open a second location. Pilsen, maybe Logan Square. You'd run the repair side, train someone to help. We'd go 50-50 partners." Rob's brain short-circuited. "Partners. Equal partners. You put in sweat equity, I put in capital. We build something real." She extended her hand. "What do you say?" Rob thought about the apartment in Pilsen, about Emma learning to fix phones at his kitchen table, about Karen's voice saying, "You'll never amount to anything more than this." "I say yes." They shook hands, and Rob Harrison became a business partner at 45 years old. Outside, Chicago's summer heat pressed against the windows. Inside, the air conditioning hummed, and Emma was organizing screws and Shanice was sketching plans for the second location. Rob looked around the small store that had become his second home and thought about Marcus's words. Sometimes you have to jump. He had jumped, and he was flying. The second location opened in Logan Square on a brutally hot August day when the temperature hit 97 degrees and the entire city smelled like hot garbage and determination. Fresh Connect Mobile West. Emma had insisted on the naming system, occupied a corner storefront on Milwaukee Avenue, sandwiched between a vintage clothing store and a taco joint that made Rob's mouth water constantly. The build-out had taken 3 months and most of Rob's savings. Business loans, equipment purchases, hiring his first employee, a quiet 22-year-old named Miguel who could fix anything electronic but struggled with eye contact. "This is either the best decision we've ever made or the worst," Rob said to Shanice as they hung the grand opening banner. "Usually it's both," Shanice replied. "Welcome to entrepreneurship." Emma stood inside, directing Miguel on proper parts organization, with the authority of someone who had earned expertise through actual work. The grand opening brought steady customers. By noon, 12 repairs were logged. By closing, 37, and they had depleted their initial parts inventory. "We need to reorder everything," Emma announced, consulting her tablet. "And we need better organization." "You're 10, Rob reminded her. "You're supposed to be worried about dolls, not inventory management. Dolls are boring, and boy bands are objectively terrible." She looked up at him. "Besides, someone has to keep this place running." Miguel laughed, the first sound Rob had heard him make voluntarily. "She's not wrong. That first month was brutal. The South Loop location thrived, but Logan Square was slower to build momentum. Rent was due, parts were expensive. Rob split his time between both stores, sleeping maybe 4 hours nightly, surviving on coffee and tacos from next door. Emma spent her days at summer camp and evenings at whichever store needed her more. She had her own key, her own responsibilities, her own paycheck that she deposited in a savings account for college. "You're 11, Rob said when she opened the account. Her birthday had come and gone in July. "Exactly. Only 7 more years to save up." One Thursday evening in December, Rob was closing the Logan Square location when Emma collapsed. One moment she was organizing cables. The next, she was on the floor, curled up, her face pale and drawn. "Emma!" Rob dropped everything, kneeling beside her. "What's wrong?" "My stomach." Her voice was small, frightened. "It really hurts, Daddy." At the emergency room, a doctor examined Emma while Rob held her hand, watching his daughter try to be brave while clearly terrified. "I'm recommending a CT scan," the doctor said. "Given the pain location and severity, we need to rule out appendicitis. And if it is, surgery, soon. The appendix can rupture, which causes serious complications." The CT scan confirmed it. Acute appendicitis. Emma needed surgery within hours. They transferred her to Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Rob called Shanice from the ambulance. "Go," she said immediately. "We'll handle the stores. Emma comes first." The corporate shipment. "Rob, go be with your daughter. Everything else can wait." Emma had emergency surgery that evening. Rob sat in the waiting room, surrounded by anxious families and fluorescent lights. Marcus showed up around 9 p.m., carrying decent coffee from a nearby cafe. "Thought you could use something better than hospital sludge." "How did you know?" "Shanice called me." "How's Emma?" "Surgery. They said 2 hours." Rob checked his phone for the 100th time. "I keep thinking about insurance. My plan through Shanice's business just started last month. What if—" "Stop, don't borrow tomorrow's problems. Focus on right now." The surgeon finally emerged at 10:47 p.m. The surgery went well. "We removed the appendix before it ruptured. Emma's going to be fine." Rob's knees went weak. "Can I see her?" "She's in recovery." Another hour. When they finally let Rob in, Emma was awake but groggy, hooked up to monitors and IV lines that made her look smaller than he had ever seen her. "Hey, Daddy." Her voice was small, slurred. "Hey, baby girl." Rob took her hand, kissing her forehead. "You scared me." "Sorry. My body betrayed me." Even post-surgery, she made jokes. Rob laughed through tears. They kept Emma in the hospital for 2 days. Rob never left, sleeping in the chair beside her bed, surviving on vending machine food and Marcus's coffee deliveries. Emma was released Thursday, with post-surgery instructions and a prescription for pain medication that cost $187, even with insurance. But when Rob got home and checked his bank account, reality hit hard. The hospital bill arrived a week later, Even with insurance, his portion was $3,400. Add prescriptions, missed work, upcoming rent on 2 locations, payroll, and the overdue parts order. Rob had $1,200 in his business account and $847 personal. He was staring at bankruptcy again. He sat at their kitchen table. They had finally bought a real dining set and did the math over and over. The numbers did not change. Emma appeared in the doorway, moving carefully, one hand pressed against her healing incision. "You should be in bed." "I heard you swearing at the computer." She sat across from him. "How bad is it?" You don't need to worry. Daddy, I'm 11. I manage inventory for 2 stores. I know what money problems look like." Her voice was gentle but firm. "How bad?" Rob showed her the numbers. Emma studied them with careful attention. "We need to delay expansion plans," she said finally. "We already signed leases." She was quiet, thinking. "I have money." "What?" "My savings account, for college. I have $6,342. She said it matter-of-factly. "You can use it." Rob felt punched. "Absolutely not." "Why not? It's just sitting there. College is 7 years away. You need it now." "Emma, that's your future. This business is my future too." She leaned forward, wincing. "If the stores fail, we lose everything. If they survive, we can rebuild my college fund. It's just math, Daddy." "It's not just math, it's your dream." "My dream is to go to college, yeah. But my bigger dream is to not be homeless again." Her voice cracked. "I remember losing the house. I remember moving to Pilsen with nothing. I don't want to do that again." Rob pulled his daughter carefully into a hug, mindful of her stitches. "I'm supposed to protect you." "You do. Every day. But sometimes protecting means accepting help." She pulled back. "Let me help. Please." That night, Rob called Marcus. "My 11-year-old daughter just offered me her college savings to save the business." Marcus was quiet. "Did you take it?" "I don't know. I can't, can I?" "Rob, being a parent means making impossible choices. Sometimes the right choice feels wrong." Marcus paused. "Emma's offering because she believes in you, in what you're building together. She's 11. She's 11 going on 40. And she's right about the math." Rob sat with the decision for 2 days. Finally, he sat Emma down with a formal loan agreement that his lawyer had helped him draft. "If we're doing this, we're doing it right. This is a business loan, 5% interest, repayment schedule, everything legal." Emma read the contract carefully, then signed with her practiced signature. "Does this make me a real investor?" "Yes, which means quarterly financial reports and a vote on major business decisions." "Cool. My first vote is better coffee for the break room. The stuff we have tastes like sadness." Rob laughed, tension breaking. They shook hands formally. Then Emma said, "Daddy, I'm scared too. About the money, about everything." "I know, baby, me too. But we're going to be okay, right?" Rob thought about all the times he had made that promise. All the times it felt like a lie. But looking at his daughter, his partner, he realized something. They were already okay. Not because they had money or security, but because they had each other and had learned how to face fear together. "Yeah," he said, believing it. "We're going to be okay." Outside, December snow fell on Chicago, covering everything in white. Inside, a father and daughter sat together, bound by blood and business and the kind of love that survives anything. Winter turned to spring, and Fresh Connect Mobile survived. More than survived, it thrived. Emma's loan had covered the immediate crisis. Rob negotiated payment plans with the hospital, spread thin but manageable. The stores found their rhythm, customers becoming regulars, word of mouth spreading through Chicago neighborhoods. By March, Rob was 47 years old and running 2 profitable locations. Emma was 12, splitting time between school and being the world's youngest operations manager. Then the phone call came that changed everything. "Mr. Harrison, this is James Okonkwo. I run a procurement company that supplies electronics to corporate clients. I've been watching your operation." Rob was at the Logan Square location, elbow deep in a laptop repair. "That sounds ominous," James laughed. "It's meant to sound profitable. Your turnaround time is excellent, customer reviews outstanding, and you've grown from 1 location to 2 in under a year. That's impressive. Thank you. I have a proposition. My company handles warranty repairs for several major corporations in the Chicago area. We need reliable local partners. I'm talking 300 devices monthly. Steady, guaranteed income. Rob's tired brain tried to process this. 300 monthly. Start there, scale up if you can handle it. James pulled out contract terms. Standard partnership. We provide devices, you provide repairs, we pay net 30. Net 30? Rob's business knowledge flagged a warning. So you pay me 30 days after I complete work? Standard industry practice. That's a cash flow problem. I'd be buying parts and paying employees with no income for a month. James raised an eyebrow, looking impressed. You've learned quickly, fair point. We can do net 15 for the first 6 months. After that, net 30. Rob wanted to sign immediately. 300 repairs monthly would change everything. But something Marcus had taught him nagged. When something sounds too good, there's usually a catch in the fine print. I need to review this with my business partner and lawyer. James smiled. Smart. Take a week. After he left, Rob called Marcus. 300 devices monthly? Marcus whistled. That's significant. What's your gut say? My gut says yes. My brain says read the fine print. Good. Your brain is learning. Get a lawyer. Rob found Patricia Reeves, a business attorney who charged reasonable rates and spoke in actual English instead of legal jargon. Patricia reviewed the contract in her office, overlooking the Chicago River, making notes in red pen. It's mostly standard, but there are concerning clauses. This quality standards section is vague enough they could refuse payment for subjective reasons. This termination clause gives them a lot of power with minimal notice. So don't sign. I didn't say that. I said we need to negotiate better terms. Patricia negotiated for a week. James pushed back, they compromised, revised again. The final contract was 15 pages longer and significantly more favorable. You're good at this, Rob told Patricia. I've represented a lot of small businesses. I know every trick corporations try to pull. She handed him the contract. Now go make money and pay my bill on time. The corporate repairs started in May. 300 devices became 400. 400 became 550. Rob hired 2 more technicians, expanded Logan Square and started looking at a 3rd location. Emma upgraded from inventory manager to junior operations consultant, a title she had given herself and everyone accepted because she had earned it. One evening in June, Emma was doing financial projections when she looked up with wide eyes. Daddy, we're going to hit $1 million in annual revenue this year. Rob looked at the numbers, then looked again. She was right. Between 2 stores, private repairs, and the corporate contract, they would cross $1 million by December. How did that happen? Emma shrugged. You worked really hard. We worked really hard. And we didn't give up when things got scary. That night, after Emma went to bed, Rob sat at their kitchen table and thought about the past 3 years. The foreclosure, the divorce, the apartment in Pilsen that had felt like rock bottom. He was still in that apartment, still sleeping on a mattress on the floor because bed frames felt unnecessary, still eating tacos from the place next door because cooking felt like wasted time. But he had 2 stores, 5 employees, a corporate contract, a daughter who was thriving. For the first time since Karen left, he felt like maybe he had not just survived, he had built something real. His phone buzzed. Marcus. Heard about the $1 million. Proud of you, brother. Drinks tomorrow, I'm buying. You never buy. Special occasions only. This qualifies. In July, Rob opened the 3rd location in Wicker Park. Fresh Connect Mobile North occupied a renovated storefront on North Avenue, all exposed brick and industrial lighting. We're gentrifying electronics repair, Shanice joked. Next, we'll offer artisanal screen replacements. The Wicker Park location was an immediate success. The neighborhood had been waiting for professional, affordable, fast repair service. By August, Rob was running 3 locations with 7 employees. The business was generating almost $200,000 monthly in revenue, but success brought new challenges. Coordinating between 3 stores was chaotic. Managing 7 employees with different strengths and weaknesses, dealing with difficult customers, handling parts shortages, competing with national chains that had deeper pockets. One Saturday in September, everything went wrong simultaneously. The South Loop location had a plumbing emergency that flooded the back room. Logan Square's lead technician quit via text message. Wicker Park received a shipment of wrong parts that set them back a week. And Emma got sick. Not hospital emergency sick, but the kind of sick that meant she needed her dad, not her business partner. Rob sat in Emma's room that evening, holding a trash can while she threw up, and realized he had been so focused on building the business that he had forgotten the whole point. Emma, his daughter, the reason he had started this in the first place. "I'm sorry, baby," he said, smoothing her hair. "For what?" Emma's voice was weak. "For being gone so much. For making you grow up too fast. For turning you into an employee instead of just letting you be a kid." Emma was quiet for a moment. "Daddy, I like working with you. I like helping build something, but..." She paused. "Sometimes I just want to be your daughter, not your business partner." The words hit like a hammer. "You're right," Rob said. "I got lost in the work. I forgot what matters." The next week, Rob made changes. He hired an operations manager to handle day-to-day coordination. He set boundaries. No business talk during dinner. No work on Sundays. Emma was allowed to quit any time she wanted. No questions asked. "I don't want to quit," Emma said. "I just want balance." Deal. By October, with better systems and boundaries in place, the business ran smoother. Rob had time to breathe, time to be a father, time to remember that success meant nothing if he lost Emma in the process. One evening they were watching a movie together, actually watching, not half working on laptops, when Emma leaned against him. "This is nice," she said. "Yeah," Rob agreed. "It really is." Outside, October wind rattled their windows, carrying hints of the coming winter. But inside their apartment in Pilsen, father and daughter sat together, having finally learned that building a business was important. But building a life was everything. Rob Harrison turned 52 on a Tuesday in March, and he celebrated by reviewing financial statements that showed Fresh Connect Mobile had generated $1.2 million in revenue the previous year. $1.2 million. He stared at the number, convinced there must be an error, but his accountant confirmed it with a grin. "Congratulations, Mr. Harrison. You're officially a millionaire entrepreneur." 8 years. 8 years since Karen had walked out. 8 years since he sat on a bathroom floor wondering how he would feed his daughter. 8 years since Marcus handed him tools and told him to bet on himself. The business now had 4 locations across Chicago: South Loop, Logan Square, Wicker Park, and the newest in Evanston. 12 employees, corporate contracts with 5 major companies. They had been featured in the Chicago Tribune with the headline, "Local Repair Shop Disrupts Big Tech Service Model." But the number that mattered most to Rob was not the revenue. It was that Emma's college fund, fully repaid with interest, now had $40,000 in it. Enough for her entire education, possibly more. Emma was 15 now, a sophomore at Lane Tech High School, still helping with the business on weekends, but finally living like a normal teenager. She had friends, went to homecoming, complained about homework like she was supposed to. She was still brilliant, still organized, still the person who kept the business running smoothly when chaos threatened. But now she was also just Emma, a teenager discovering who she was beyond being Rob's daughter and business partner. One evening in late March, Rob gathered everyone at the South Loop location for a celebration. The entire team, Shanice, Marcus, and surprisingly, Karen. Karen had been back in Chicago for 3 years now, slowly rebuilding her relationship with Emma. It was not perfect. There were still wounds, but it was real. She showed up for school events, took Emma shopping, learned to braid hair from YouTube videos. She was trying, genuinely trying, and Emma had cautiously let her back in. Emma had organized everything for Rob's celebration: decorations, cake from a fancy bakery, a slideshow of the past 8 years, set to music that made everyone cry. "Speech!" Shanice called out, handing Rob a beer. Rob stood, looking at the faces around him. People who had believed in him when he was nobody. People who had helped build something from nothing. 8 years ago, I was 44 years old, divorced, broke, and wondering how I was going to feed my daughter. His voice cracked slightly. I thought my life was over, that I had peaked in mediocrity. Emma squeezed his hand. But this group refused to let me stay down. Marcus gave me tools and wisdom. Shanice gave me opportunity. Emma gave me purpose. All of you gave me chances when nobody else would. We also gave you a lot of grief, Miguel called out, and everyone laughed. True. But here we are, 4 locations, 12 employed, over $1 million in annual revenue. And more importantly, we built something that matters. We help people. We create jobs. We prove that second chances are real. Rob looked at Emma, this remarkable young woman his daughter had become. But my proudest accomplishment isn't the business. It's raising this incredible person beside me. Emma, you saved me as much as I saved you, maybe more. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Daddy, you're making me cry in front of everyone. Good. You made me cry with that slideshow. After the party, after everyone left, Rob and Emma walked home through Chicago's March evening. The city was waking up from winter, that first hint of warmth in the air that made everyone remember why they lived here. Can I ask you something? Emma said as they walked down 18th Street toward their apartment. Always. Are you happy? Like, really happy? Rob thought about it, about the years of struggle, the nights crying on bathroom floors, the terror of not knowing how they would survive, the slow, painful rebuilding of a life from rubble. Yeah, he said finally. I am. Are you? Mostly. Sometimes I'm still angry at Mom. Sometimes I'm sad about everything we lost. But mostly, I'm proud of us, of what we built together. Me too, kiddo. They reached their apartment building, the same building in Pilsen they had moved into 8 years ago. Rob could afford to move now, could buy a house, something nice, but neither he nor Emma wanted to. This place was home, not because it was fancy or comfortable, but because it represented survival, resilience, the place where they had learned they were stronger than they thought. Daddy? Emma asked as they climbed the stairs. Yeah? What are you going to do with the money, the profit from last year? Rob had been thinking about that. Some goes back into the business, some into savings, some into your college fund, and I thought maybe we could finally take a vacation, somewhere you've always wanted to go. Really? Really, where would you want to go? Emma thought for a moment. Could we go see the Grand Canyon? I've always wanted to see it. Grand Canyon it is. Inside their apartment, Rob made tea while Emma pulled out her laptop to research Grand Canyon trips. The apartment was still small, still cramped, but it was filled with life. Emma's debate team trophies on the shelf, pictures of the stores on the walls. Mr. Trunk, now worn and patched, sitting on the couch. Rob's phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Proud of you, brother, but the $1 million is just the beginning. What's next? Rob smiled, typing back. Maybe a 5th location. Maybe franchising. Maybe I finally buy a bed frame. Finally. The floor can't be good for your back. My back survived 44 to 52. It can survive a few more years. You're impossible. I'm successful. There's a difference. Rob set down his phone and watched Emma research vacation destinations, her face illuminated by laptop light, completely absorbed. 8 years ago he had been broken, abandoned, 44 and convinced his life was over. But Marcus had been right. Rock bottom was not the end. It was the foundation. Everything he built afterward was stronger because of it. He had learned that success was not about the money, though the money helped. It was about the work, the relationships, the purpose, the moments like this, watching his daughter plan their first real vacation in 8 years. Karen had left him with nothing, but in losing everything, he had found what mattered. His daughter, his resilience, his ability to build something meaningful from rubble. One evening in April, Rob stood in the Wicker Park location after closing, looking at the space they had created, the tools organized perfectly, the customer service awards on the wall, the photos of the team at various celebrations. Shanice joined him, handing him a beer. "What are you thinking about?" "Everything. Nothing. How strange it is to have actually made it." "You earned it. Every bit of it." "We earned it," Rob corrected. "None of this happens without you taking a chance on a desperate guy with a toolbox." Shanice smiled. "True, but I've taken chances on lots of people. You're the one who delivered." They stood in comfortable silence, two partners who had built something real. "So what's next?" Shanice asked. "Fifth location? Expansion to other cities?" "Honestly, I don't know. For the first time in 8 years, I'm not in survival mode. I can actually think about what I want instead of just what I need." "And what do you want?" Rob thought about Emma at home, probably doing homework or texting friends, about the apartment in Pilsen that had witnessed their entire transformation, about Marcus, who checked in weekly, about his team, who showed up every day and cared about the work. "This," he said finally, "I want this. Maybe bigger, maybe better, but fundamentally this. Building something that matters with people I care about." "That's a good answer." "Yeah," Rob agreed. "It is." On a warm Saturday in May, Rob took Emma to Grant Park. They sat by Buckingham Fountain eating ice cream, watching tourists take photos, feeling the spring sun on their faces. "Daddy, do you ever think about what life would be like if Mom hadn't left?" Emma asked. "Sometimes, do you?" "Yeah. I think we would have been fine. Comfortable. Normal." She paused. "But I don't think you would have built the business. I don't think I would have learned everything I learned. We would have just been regular people with a regular life." "Would that have been so bad?" Emma considered this. "No, but it wouldn't have been this. And I like this, even the hard parts, because we did it together." Rob put his arm around his daughter, this remarkable young woman who had grown up too fast, but had somehow landed exactly where she needed to be. "Me too, kiddo. Me too." They sat together as the fountain sprayed water into the Chicago sky, as people walked past with their own stories and struggles, as the city hummed with the energy of millions of people just trying to make it. Rob thought about Karen, somewhere in Bucktown, hopefully finding whatever she had been searching for. He did not hate her anymore, did not love her either. She was just someone who had once been his wife, who had made terrible choices, and who was slowly learning to be Emma's mother again. He thought about Marcus, the guardian angel in dreadlocks who had appeared exactly when needed, about Shanice, who had taken a risk on a desperate man, about David Chen, who had taught him patience, about Patricia, who had forgiven his biggest mistake, about all the people who had helped him rebuild. But mostly, he thought about Emma, his daughter, his partner. His reason for every risk, every sacrifice, every moment of fear and triumph. She had asked if they were going to be okay back when she was 9 years old, sitting in a kitchen in Lincoln Park, watching her mother walk away. Now, at 15, sitting by a fountain in Grant Park, she had her answer. They were more than okay. They had survived. They had rebuilt. They had thrived. Rob Harrison was 52 years old. He had been broke and abandoned at 44. He had raised his daughter alone through chaos and crisis, and he had become a millionaire, not through luck or shortcuts, but through work and resilience and refusing to quit. But the real wealth was not in his bank account. It was sitting beside him, eating strawberry ice cream, planning her future, secure in the knowledge that her father had her back. That was worth more than any $1 million. That was everything.